Hello folks, this will be my first attempt at uploading any kind of video to YouTube, but I want to do a quick walkthrough of my chicken coop that I built following the plans that I bought from Cotton River Farms. Following the tutorial from Cotton River Farms, excellent tutorial, really well drawn plans, all the measurements that you need, well worth the money. I mean, the plans were less than 10 bucks. Well worth the money just to have the measurements and materials needed. The only reason I'm making this video is because I made some slight changes to the plans, and I wanted to just document that and the lessons I learned, some lessons I learned along the way, I guess. But this will be a quick walkthrough. The plans called for pretty much everything out of 2x4s. I built the main base framing from 2x4s, and I cut them as short as possible. I think this is 3.5 inches, just enough to get a curved runner and a hole for the pull rope to go through. And in the back, I trimmed that a little short too. We went from the back base is pretty much cut at 12 inches, 1 foot. That left the pivot hole here at 10.5 inches. That was just to get as short as, use minimal material as possible. So that being said, the real difference is I built basically everything else from 2x3s that I had ripped down from 2x6s. So I bought, I don't remember how many, but I bought 16-foot 2x6s, ripped them all down to 2x3s, and that's what I built everything except the main base frame out of. And the door I ripped a 2x4 down to 2x2 and built the door. Did quite a bit of bracing there to strengthen it. So yeah, that's why I want to do a video on it. Doing the 2x3s meant that I needed to adjust the angles for the the diagonal bracing and the top frame. I had to adjust my angles a little bit because I was working with 2x3s instead of 2x4s. Not much of a difference, but I did have to renegotiate my angles. And then the Cotton River's plans call for a 30-inch door opening and a 30-inch nesting box opening. I widened this to 36 inches. I've got 3 full foot inside for the nesting box space. That also caused me to have to renegotiate the angles for the diagonal supports, which wasn't a big deal, just something to keep in mind. There's plenty of room for the roost bar to attach at both ends and still be level doing it that way, but it was just something that I had in mind because I changed the angle of that diagonal support. That might alter your attachment point, so it wasn't a problem in this case, but that's what I did. And because the 2x3s were, I guess, a little more susceptible to warping in the weather, and the 3 or 4 weekends that it took me to get the project done, especially the nesting box joist and the door framing joist has started to warp a little. So I had to work that warping out. I took a piece of 2x6, so basically the same length as this board, and put it beside here. Used 2 big wood clamps, carpenter clamps, and tightened it to get the warping out, and then I put these little short cross bracing in here to hold it in place, and that did what I needed to do, because it closed up the gap for the door. There was a really big gap on this side of the door, But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That was the only real changes. Um, Cotton River, the plans, they ran their hardware cloth across the top. I did mine front to back, and the reason being, I don't know if it saved me. Well, I had bought a 100-foot roll of the 1/2-inch hardware cloth, and so far I've used just under 50 foot for this project. That leaves me 50 foot to do a second one for my sister. I'm going to build her one just like this. I've got to finish the hog ring clamps and trim this down, but yeah, I ran the hardware cloth long ways, and then the rest I'm going to up top I'm going to use the regular chicken wire. It's a little bit cheaper. It's a little bit cheaper, and yeah, so that way I can use the rest of the hardware cloth on the second one. And a few loose ends I've got to tighten up, and then the tarp, the 12 by 16 tarp does not go all the way to the front. There's like 12 foot 6 roughly, 12.5 foot for a 3-panel coop. And because on the edges, on the corners, you've got a basically 2 runs of the hardware cloth overlapped and kind of squeezed together on the edges, and then the hog rings, it's kind of a, you're gonna have some roughness there. So I just took some duct tape and ran on the outside, just to kind of conceal, just to cover up the rough edges that might be poking through, and hopefully make the tarp last a little longer. And then the other thing I did, actually, once I got the panels in place, I brought my welder out here and tack welded the, don't look at my welds, but I tack welded the panels together, and that really strengthened this up. I mean, they're really added some rigidity to the whole thing. And yeah, I think that's it. I just wanted to do a quick walkthrough and show you what I did differently. Just but pretty much I just followed the plans. The measurements were roughly all the same, except for the angles that I had to kind of renegotiate for using 2x3s instead of 2x4s. Yeah, even the roosting bars I used 2x3s that I had ripped down. So it saved me a little in the long run, but you got to figure the extra time and effort in ripping all those 2x6s down. So yeah, I guess that's it. Cotton River, folks, thank you for your excellent work and tutorial. The plans were the best chicken money I've spent, and thanks for watching.